Gotta go, babe. Talk to your sexy ass later. Thanks a lot, asshole.
And again, more of this kind of technology thing that goes on with Luke's character here. The fact that he's a pure guy, and some of what messes up his life is actually the implication of things that aren't pure, such as cell phones and drugs coming up later, and later in the scene. But it was the whole concept that Luke he's pure at heart, and the concept of this whole, I guess you could say the whole idea of this play is that the choices that people make are ultimately decides what makes them good or bad. It's not anything inherent in their nature. It's just what they go through and how they have to deal with certain situations can pin them as doing things that are good or bad. And Luke's choices, over the course of the play, steadily go from good to bad. And upcoming is one of the biggest eye-rolling moments in the entire fucking play from the audience. Yeah. Look on Tyler's face there. He's like, "Whoa, you got the thing, bro." Yeah. And this is where the audience rolls their eyes. They're like, "Oh, black guy having a bag of weed? Amazing." But as I said, the character was never written to be black. I feel like I have to keep defending myself on this fact, but he was never written to be black. He was just written as a kind of a white guy who kind of does these things to make himself look cool or make him look tough, or that's just the persona that he takes on. That's the way it was always written, and I of course didn't know that, I didn't know who would be auditioning, and Gavar just fits. He just knows he knows how to make the character awesome. Now, if there was a little bit of audio video sync up issues right there, you have to forgive me. I had to go answer the door, and so in pausing and continuing the audio track and the video track, it might have gotten a little skewed. So I'm going to try to fix that up as much as I can. And then here comes the infamous drug scene coming up in a couple minutes, which I definitely wanted to work with Dennis as much as I could on this scene, because it really it's his chance to kind of let loose and just be as comedic as he can be. And at the time when we did this, Dennis was pretty much like a straight shooter. I mean, he hasn't done drugs, and he didn't drink at the time. Actually, I don't know if he drinks anymore. I know he may have had one drink at the cast party, but at the time he didn't know what being drunk or being high felt like, and so we kind of tried to come up with this whole skit about this newbie getting thrown to this kind of mentality that he was unfamiliar with, and good job there, Ryan, making a close up on that. That was good. Now that was actually the whole dragon flying around the head farting skittle thing. That was that's an actual drug experience that a friend of mine had, and they recounted it to me, and I was like, I gotta put this in. Some right drug scene. And then we finally get to put in the big large backdrop, or the large scrim or screen, as some people like to refer to it. That big white sheet in the back. We get to use that.
Jeez, how big was that thing?
I kind of felt bad for Dennis because he had to eat these what was supposed to be mushrooms, but was actually just like a piece of like a chocolate truffle covered in like oregano, because it was in the bag that we used for the fake joints. And then here we go with the whole dream sequence, the kind of drug sequence, and I bitched about this for so fucking long, because it was so difficult for me to make this on my computer, because my computer's a piece of garbage, and I was trying to edit all these tracks and all these like animated things together, and it was so clear in my mind what I wanted to happen, but I was limited at the time, and I kind of wanted to splice in the actual drug track into this video itself. I never got the chance to. Now this kind of stuff was what I was most proud of when I did the drug sequencing stuff, was the overlaying pictures of Eva, and the kind of negative positive kind of effect. And it was always my intention, or it was always my desire to make Eva the focus of the drug trip, so that in his in Luke's most ecstasy of moments, there's my voice there coming in with the the text message alert on his phone, his pocket amplified, but that when Luke is at his happiest, he's thinking about Eva, and this moment where he kind of gets high and drunk at the same time would be a moment where he is at his most serene, or at his most at his most happy, and he would be thinking about Eva, especially since he keeps getting text messages from her, and she responds to the text message that Drake sent, but it was actually him. And again, if you have not seen the original or the real, the uncommentary track, then you should watch that and you'll know more what I mean. But this was a really cool sequence. I always love moments in plays where things just go from really good to really bad, and this was my chance to write that. Because he's at a peak, and then all of a sudden the cops come, and then fuck his high up, and then he forgets his pizza. That's never fun. I'm glad that it came off as humorous, though, for the audience, because one thing I did not want to do was have this moment and play it goofy. It is goofy, but I didn't want to play it goofy to the point of this is just retarded. I did want it to come off silly and funny, but not. I didn't want to jeopardize any of the risk at the moment, because the cops see you high on a fucking rooftop. That is a risk, and if the cops did catch him, that would affect the rest of his life, since he just got the movie deal. And so there was always that overhanging kind of notion that if something goes wrong, his whole life is screwed. And this is the first chance that we get to see Drake and Angelo in a scene alone together, and it was the easiest scene for me to write. I love writing argument scenes in anything I do, because the energy's already there. You don't have to kind of create it. If you have both the characters, and if you understand where both characters are coming from, the scene pretty much writes itself, because you know what one character would say in response to another. And argument moments and passionate moments are the moments that allow that energy to just kind of pour out, and you don't really need to think about it too much. It happens. It was also my intention for this scene that both parties are justified here. Drake is justified as well as Angelo is justified, and I never wanted this to be the whole kind of Tyler being Angelo, kind of overbearing and just have this is my say, and although that's what his viewpoint is, he obviously thinks that he's right. Drake thinks that he's right. Drake thinks that he is right, and they are fighting their arguments, but they both have valid arguments.
You laugh as you light the house on fire with the family trapped inside of it, and you think you can escape. I've helped them.
It was always wonderful to watch these guys play it, especially when the moment where Gavar in rehearsals just whacked Tyler right across the face as hard as he could. And I unfortunately was not looking at him at the time, so I missed that whole moment. What I regret most. No, I regret other things. And this is probably this is the moment for me where Drake becomes real. He becomes like a real person, because he's damaged as a character, and so is Angelo. They're both in a position where they don't want to fight with the other, but they kind of have to, because they hate the fact that they're not supporting it. They're friends. Drake hates the fact that Angelo doesn't have his back. Angelo doesn't understand why Drake just can't see reason. But Drake is, he's damaged. He's been through some shit in his life, and much of that has to do with Angelo. And this doesn't make it into play, and should it? It's all just kind of dressing for that play off each other when they're actually doing the scene. It gives them some kind of motivation. This is never Drake and Angelo's story. But again, a lot of what is talked about here is fodder for character behavior, especially this line right here. What is it? Push. And this moment where Drake basically threatens Angela's life is.
And I will end you.
You can see the wounds that have been reopened, kind of. You don't have to say, hey, look, I'm Drake and I've had some shit done to me. You just have to have, little lines like that where, Angelo makes a comment, Drake flips out, and then you understand that